I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast where we talk about all things X-Men. We are currently dealing with all of the fallout from Uncanny X-Men. I don't know, I play a Fallout game with an X-Men skin on it. I don't play any of those other Fallout games.
Sure.
If you put Wolverine in Fallout, I might play it.
Do you know, I recently did a Retronauts about X-Men video games, I think I mentioned.
You did?
And there is a PC total conversion mod of Quake that the concept is you are like a human soldier and Apocalypse has cloned all of the X-Men. So it's like Quake, but all of the monsters are replaced by X-Men, instances of X-Men.
Okay. So like multiple Icemen, multiple Wolverines.
Multiple Icemen, multiple Cannonballs, multiple Wolverines.
How
and stuff. It's real weird.
What's the fidelity like on that? Because like one of the strengths of Quake, I think, was how all of those monsters like looked weird and good because of the way that it was built, but like they weren't trying to imitate anything in real life, right? Like, does Iceman just look like a giant ball? Like, what do we?
It looks pretty good, I think. They look like kind of like PS1 fighting game models. To me.
Okay.
They don't just look like giant balls. Like they're recognizable through that. Yeah. The Ravages of Apocalypse is what it is called.
I'll have to look at some videos for it. Check it out.
It's pretty bizarre. And it's so weird too. Like it was the kind of thing, like it came out in a box in software at the store that says a Quake total conversion under it.
Wow.
Like, yeah, like it's very bizarre.
What year would that have
really
been?
weird game.
Because Quake 1 was, fuck, man, that was what, 95, 96?
This came out in 2005. So it's I think it's a Quake 3 mod. It's not a Quake 1.
Oh,
it's like a later Quake.
Okay. Well, that makes a little bit. Well, I guess even then, Quake 3 had, I guess.
Oh, wait, no. This came out in 1997.
Okay. Whoa. I was going to say 2005 seems late to have boxed software for that, but I was going to roll with it.
Yeah. No, you're right. That was a mod for the mod.
Jesus.
Came out in 2005. Yeah.
They had DLC for this fucking Quake 3 mod? What the hell?
It's very bizarre and supposed to be pretty crappy, but I've never played it and I'm kind of interested.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Kind of fascinating.
Have we started the podcast yet? Or are we still we did the introduction,
yes.
right? Yeah. Okay. That's how we got here.
We have
Fallout.
started the podcast.
Yes.
This is we are playing podcast now.
We are talking about Uncanny X-Men number 19, the cover of which is a giant close-up of Cyclops screaming and shooting his I-beams at a bunch of Avengers and X-Men that you can see reflected in his visor, in his Phoenix visor, which is extremely cool.
Mm-hmm. Great cover. Mm-hmm. And this issue is from the Cyclops perspective.
Finally.
Finally. And it's cool. It's a good one.
Yep. We're going to start with it's going to be maybe a little difficult to explain some of the way that some of these pages are lined out, because like we have a background of like chaos and destruction with 9 panels kind of off of center axis, and each panel is like a person that Cyclops is thinking about. So we have Hank McCoy, and he says, Hank McCoy is thinking, "I told you so," for the 34th time today. Captain America's DNA reads AT da 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 da. So it's just Scott Summers reading the minds and reading and displaying like what a sense of power that the Phoenix Force has, like that he could just feel like there's a blood smear on the ground. He's like, it's typo, that's Logan's.
It's super Dr. Manhattan shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's experiencing all time and all space at once, as he's phoenixing out.
Yes.
And the last panel is he's like, Charles Xavier thinks it's not too late. Charles Xavier's incorrect, as he explodes in a big Phoenix burst.
God, this Phoenix throne that he is on right now, like this is Dark Souls as fuck, dude. Like imagine just walking in a room and some dude just burst into a Phoenix flame.
Just boss, oh shit, this is going to be a 4-phaser.
I feel like there's probably a good, let's say, at least 100, maybe up to 500 podcasts that are just not on Dark Souls, that don't talk about Dark Souls, that will just get taken over when Elden Ring comes out. We'll be nominally on topic, and then like you and I will be talking about an X-Man thing, and like, but did you play the second area? Blah blah blah.
It's going to be pretty tricky. We're going to have to try to confine some of that stuff to text.
Yes, absolutely.
Real great, like very very cool looking here.
Mm-hmm.
he's talking about Xavier. He's like, he made me everything that I am, and I make him nothing.
Yeah.
I kill him.
Here. And this is the thing, this is the thing that pushes him into Dark Phoenix. Like, this is the moment that he loses control, because he lashes out at Xavier, realizes he's dead. We get this really cool shot of, as he's like, body is hunched over. He's just like, it looks like he's just like pulling the blood out of Wolverine or something. Like, it looks crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super cool looking.
And it makes me, and as he goes full Dark Phoenix, it doesn't even say anything. And then we get this huge spread of, I am fire incarnate, the text in the background on white space with this huge phoenix bird with him in the middle. And at the bottom, it just says the passion of Scott Summers. And that's fucking cool as shit. That's awesome.
Yeah, it'd be an incredible poster.
Yes.
Like it's real cool looking. Yeah. And he's kind of like seeing all of his life unstuck in time from a third person perspective, He's like, I'm hovering over Utopia in the moments in between. It shows him and Havoc jumping out of a plane when they're kids, the brain damage that fucked up his power, him going to school, all that stuff. Everything's happening simultaneously. He's become unstuck in time.
Yeah.
At this point,
he remembers meeting Jean Grey. He remembers Jean Grey dying on the moon. There's a recurring. It almost has the cadence of a joke, of a bit, where he says, "I am fighting a man with claws." But as like the deeper you go, the more that you see, "I am fighting a man with claws," like kind of the sadder that it is, almost. Like it's real.
Yeah,
it's
always happening. Mm-hmm. Like it's nonstop.
Yeah,
I'm cheating on the redheaded girl with the blonde. I'm betraying the blonde. I'm betraying everything. I'm fighting a man with claws.
Yeah.
I'm destroying Paris. I'm destroying a different city. I don't know where it is. There's a great panel where Wolverine just walks up and sticks his claws through Cyclops' head. It doesn't phase him, but he's like literally just pierced his head with his claws.
Yes.
Super good.
Hank comes up to him and he says, "Oh, I know what I can do with Hank." And we see Hank like literally start dissolving in front of him. And then in the next panel, he's back again and he says, "No." And Scott's like, I could do that. No, did I do that, or did I just do it and then undo it? Could I make everything all right? Like, could I undo all of this? Like, he's having this internal struggle, this internal battle. Again, the reference here is obviously Dr. Manhattan, like you mentioned, and it's just really fucking good.
Mm-hmm. Who's the clever one now? Like, I like it a lot. This makes him leave. He flies up into the sky. Nova tackles him. "I'm kicking your ass" moment from the actual thing, and as he lands, Hope and Scarlet Witch are fighting him, and he's saying, like, "I hear the words that come out of my mouth and they sound like me if I were an angel." And I had to remember that Lucifer was an angel as well.
Yeah. And we see him smile,
just really losing his mind.
Yeah. And we see him smile as he realizes, like, oh, these people are so small compared to me, compared to my power. And this is visually representative of him, like, standing over the earth and literally like holding the earth in his hand, holding the fucking solar system in his hand. And just, like, this is how much of power he has at this exact moment. And then he's surrounded like this, or from above, he's surrounded by this white. And I think this is implied that, like, this is Jean Grey talking to him through the Phoenix Force and like, "You were such an idiot," or whatever.
Yeah, it's the one moment of this that feels a little weird to me.
It's
hard for me to think that Jean Grey would be like, "You're an idiot."
Well, especially like, imagine you are Jean Grey and like the thing that you're going to tell your Phoenixed up husband who's killed you and you've been brought back, like imagine all of that history and then being like, "Tell Logan."
Dude, yeah, it's incredible.
like, excuse me?
When also, like, I just think this would have been a better moment if this was a moment of understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And if she were just like, "You're an idiot," I'd be like, "Fuck you." Yeah. Like, you did this.
I would have, like, I think the line here for me would be, "Let it go, Scott." Like, you have to let it go. Like, encouraging him to do what the thing that Hope is going to eventually do.
Yeah. 100%. And this is happening as Hope and Scarlet Witch are beating him up, taking him out, and the Phoenix leaves his chest.
Yes.
And he kind of comes back to his senses. Like, he remembers it was about Hope. It was always about Hope.
And then we jump forward to where he's being detained. This is before the jail cell. And so now he's just in kind of a tent. He's in handcuffs. They've got a mask over him so he can't use his powers. And he's barely even remembering. Like, he's like, I thought I lost. I thought I killed you. And then he realizes, like, oh, I killed the professor. Like, he's obviously, like, recovering from this experience.
Yeah. And Beast is dressing him down, basically saying, like, city's burned, the ocean was on fire. You really fucked up. It's such a mess that these new mutants that are showing up, their legacy is going to be really difficult. And this is Cyclops first learning that it made new mutants. Beast, was not going to say this. He did it on accident, basically.
Yep.
It's all Cyclops can focus on. And eventually Beast has to be like, yeah, there are new mutants.
Yeah.
And Cyclops gets a big grin on his face.
He's,
like, fuck yeah, I did it.
Yeah. Like, it cost me everything, but I did it. Like, I saved the race. Like, I've done abominable things. I don't ask for forgiveness. I don't deserve it, but I would do this all again because if it saves the race. And, like, again, losing control, killing innocent lives in these cities and everything, like, I can say, Cyclops was right up to a point. I also think that maybe they wouldn't have lost control without constantly being, like, provoked by the Avengers, but that's beside the point at this point. Like, but the idea that he did all of this to literally save his race is very powerful. Like, he didn't do,
even if it wasn't worth it, it wasn't all for nothing.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Which is a powerful feeling. And the idea, one of the things that makes me interested in the status quo and the stuff that comes out of this, and one of the reasons why I like the Consequences book a lot, is because it follows that idea. It would have been very simple just to condemn Scott, like it did basically for 90% of the crossover, and just be like, yeah, thank God that's over. That guy was an asshole, but it doesn't. Like, feels at least semi-justified just because he's, it worked.
Yeah.
It was shitty, but it worked.
And as he walks out, onto the beach, which it's, the beach, is the beach a character, Gary? Is the beach like New York City and Sex in the City? Is the beach a character?
Very much so.
As he walks out, he raises his arms in an X, and like, fuck yeah, I did it. And it's hard. It's really like, I feel like Gillen is really deft at doing this because it's hard not to feel a little bit of joy and like, hey, like, if you're down with the mutants, like, this is a good thing. Like, it took sacrificing the professional, Jesus Christ.
The professional X.
The professional X, absolutely. But it took sacrifice. It took everything. Like, it took a lot from fucking Cyclops to do this, but he did it. And it's hard not to have hope at this moment, even despite the fact that this dude's going to jail.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. The ending on this up note, I think, is a really great little subversion of this. Even Beast has his hand on his shoulder.
Yeah.
It's very, very interesting.
I feel like we just ran
this issue a lot.
Ran through this issue.
It goes real quick because a lot of it's just, him remembering his birth and just individual lines. Like, it's carried a lot by the art.
Yeah.
It's a real fast read.
We're gonna see more of his like cell, like the cell that they make for him, and like here they've got obviously got like the full head covered goggles on, so he can't use his eye blast or whatever. But do you think it would have just been easier to blindfold the dude than like build a fancy cell? You know what I'm saying? Like, or even like sadistically like seal the dude's eyes shut, right? Like, I don't know, man. It just seems, as I was reading it, I was like
super glue them shits.
Yeah. It's not nice, but
yeah. They talk about how they're going to make him a helmet, and they eventually do.
Yeah.
But it's maybe they just didn't have it on lock.
That's it. Yeah. Everybody. The next issue, I think we did decide to cover it. Is that right? We did say we would.
Yes.
Yeah. The next episode of this podcast is going to be on Avengers versus X-Men versus number 6, and then we'll probably after that pick up with Uncanny X-Men number 20, which is the last issue in this run, and it's very good. It's not specifically AVX related, but like it deals with the fallout so specifically that I think we kind of have to talk about it.
Yeah, and then we're going to talk about Consequences for some number of issues.
Yep,
it's a 5-issue miniseries. I don't know if we'll cover it for all 3 episodes. We might do like cover it for an extra long episode and then do the feedback one. We'll figure it out. It's cool though. It's good.
Good.
left a really good taste in my mouth.
And then after that, we're going to do some like short stuff. We mentioned doing like some solo runs and some like first appearances. We don't currently have a schedule for that, and we may just kind of play that by ear. But we're probably going to focus on the first appearances first. I would say if you've got a favorite character and you want us to look at their first appearance, like if there's like a X-Man that we may overlook in our conversation, DM us, send it to us on Twitter, or go to the website, Days of Future Cast. You can also just DM me on Twitter, like personally, JG Greer. I don't care. My DMs are open because I am dangerous.
Yeah, dangerous DMs.
I invite danger wherever I go.
If you like the show, go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. Leave us ratings, reviews on Apple Podcast or Podcast Addict. We appreciate that. And we will see you next time.
Bye, everybody.